are these people?
Dissent and Bloom in chat wrote in really interesting articles. Got any more donations? I'll need a second page. Thanks a lot. No, I won't need a second page. I think we have enough. But maybe. Nice new graphics on her Substack. Go subscribe there. Submission as strategy, how trad wives market the Christian national agenda. Let me start over. How trad wives market the Christian nationalist agenda. All right. It's all a marketing scheme. It's not just about baking bread. It's a terrifying scam to brainwash women into voting against their own freedom. A fascinating read. And a lot of it also was talking about bot brigades. And she also did a thing about how, about botnets that she published yesterday to her Substack notes. Check that out. And how a lot of this feels like it's real, but it's really just artificial to make you feel like they're getting a lot of support that they don't really have. Number 2, Steve Semler from Polygraph. That's his. All right. He's all about the numbers and charts and analysis. He points out that in 2018, the Pentagon couldn't account for $1.5 trillion in assets. Now it can't account for $2 trillion. And that it's never passed an audit once. First required in 1996, never once passed an audit. Trillions of dollars down a black hole by design. And now Trump wants to give them $1.5 trillion budget for next year when they've already got that amount in assets that they can't account for. Sure, just keep throwing money down the hole. Why not? Next. As part of his, again, House boosts military budget as Pentagon extends failed audit streak to 30 years. So go support Polygraph. That's Stephen Semler with a P. StephenSemler.com. I also wanted to give a shout out and watch this little quick video by Michael Parenti, who died this week at age 92. Legendary anti-capitalist. This is a speech that he gave. And a lot of people call this the Yellow Parenti speech. I'm gonna blow this one up, and let me hit it here.
Capitalism also can never stay home. It goes abroad. So one of the laws of capitalist motion and development is this inexorable expansion, and that means expansion into an expropriation of the third world, a process that's been going on for about 400 years. Perpetrated by the Portuguese, the Spaniards, the Dutch, the Belgians, the French, the English, and most recently, most successfully, most impressively, by the Americans. That is by the ruling classes of these countries, not by the ordinary people.
All of the North American farmers have carved out and taken the timber, the flax, the hemp, the cocoa, the rum, the tin, the copper, the iron, the wood, the slave, the cheap labor. They have taken out of these countries. These countries are developed. Expanded.
Legend. Okay, so not only so again, RIP to Michael Parenti, as Ghost Art points out. I also wanted to point out Alan MacLeod, another Indie Media Award honoree. RIP to Dr. Michael Parenti, who died today. Alan interviewed him for his book on the media war in Venezuela. He was very friendly and was much more interested in asking me about my work, research, and the political situation in Scotland. His death marks the passing of one of the West's most important public intellectuals. Anyway, here's what he said about the role of the media in engineering public support for regime change abroad, something all the more significant given the current U.S. attack on Venezuela. Quote, I think the mainstream media does an excellent job for the people that they represent, which is corporate America. The mainstream media are not close to corporate America. They're not supportive of corporate America. They are corporate America. The media are owned by the super rich and are a component part of power and wealth, so their job is to paint a threatening and pejorative picture of any leader, movement, or government that tries to chart an independent course, that tries to use the land, the labor, the markets, and human resources of a country for its own development. Any country that does that, its leader is denigrated, sullied, and demonized. So I think that is what we are seeing in Venezuela, is a perfect example of that. R.I.P. Michael Parenti. Thank you for your contributions. Because eloquent. Although written and published in the 80s, Parenti's Inventing Reality, the Politics of Mass Media, remains an invaluable source for those wishing to understand how the press and the world really function. The following are all quotes from Inventing Reality. Parenti on fake news. Quote, like any liar, the press is filled with contradictions. Seldom holding itself accountable for what it says, it can blithely produce information and opinions that conflict with previously held ones without a word of explanation for the shift. Parenti on how journalists internalize bias. And I want to mention, I asked Alan about internalizing bias and vetting sources. A reporter, this is Parenti, first comes up with an investigative story idea, writes it up, and submits it to an editor. And they're told that the story's not going to run. They wonder why, but next time they're cautious enough to check with the editors first. They're told by the editor that it would be better not to write that story. The third time, they think of an investigative story idea, but don't bother the editor with it because they know it's silly. Fourth time, they don't even think of the idea anymore. One might add a fifth time when the reporter bristles with indignation at the suggestion that he's on an ideological leash and not part of a free and democratic press. And on and on and on and on and on. R.I.P. Michael Parenti. I quoted Alan MacLeod because I had the privilege of sitting down with Alan MacLeod for a one-on-one last week. Man, I love that guy. I've read so many of his articles on this show. I encourage everyone to go to IndieNewsNow.com and listen to, if you have not, or watch that hour and a half, hour 20 minutes that I spent with him. I asked him specifically about Venezuela and about Julian Assange and about how do you vet sources. And he talked about how to triangulate information and listen to multiple sources to determine somebody's bias over time. It was a brilliant answer. We talked about Mintpress News and the Indiegogo censorship that was happening. So again, this was 80 minutes with Alan and I. Really appreciated the time that he spent. I've been putting out clips of this. I'm going to continue to. And again, go to IndieNewsNow.com and you can listen to the full 80-minute conversation ad-free over there. Okay. And support independent media because, like Mintpress News, INN is also user-funded. Cash App, $ Indie News Network, go-fee.com/Indie News Network, paypal.me/Indie News Network, patreon.com/Indie News Network, over at our website at IndieNewsNow.com, and at the Substacks at IndieMediaToday.com and INNNewsletter.com. Thank you, Seven Sword. That was a great interview. Flew by. Again, he was so generous with his time. It did fly by. I did get to all the questions I want to ask. So if anyone has other questions for him, things that I did not get a chance to ask, then send them to me. I'd love to ask him, and I'd love to have him back to do that. Happy birthday to Ghost Start also. But again, thank you for sticking with me and for being patient and listening and raging with me and letting me get all this out because I need to. And I love you all. Support independent media because we need it more than ever, fam. I'll see you soon. No! We just fucking lost the stream!
I guess this isn't such an awful place. Is that what you want me to say? You prove it's possible to sleep for days, and I still think you're right here awake. The cost of living isn't much to make, but God, it's so hard to say. And when we told you everything was safe, were you